21st century medicine is advancing at a blinding pace. But many doctors are the first to admit they don't have all the answers. For every modern miracle cure, there can also be a traditional home remedy, a herbal alternative, or an ancient therapy people swear by. Many of these treatments have been handed down the generations. But how many of them actually work?
Hello. Step into my office, Stevie.
Thank you.
I'm Jan Fran.
Why do you think it works?
And in this new series, we meet the everyday Australians who claim their homespun health cures work miracles.
What do you got? Plain yogurt for dandruff.
It is hemp kombucha.
Breastfeeding enhancing smoothie.
The most promising treatments will be scientifically trialled by an independent research team.
All right, good luck.
Thank you so much.
But first, they have to convince our team of medical experts.
This could be life-changing for the health of Australians.
Journalist and doctor Ginny Mansberg,
I'm trying to fight my science brain, I really am.
medical research specialist Professor Ash Hake,
I just have to make a confession. I'm a convert.
and groundbreaking neurosurgeon Dr. Charlie Teo.
Everyone thinks of medicine as being black and white, that we have the answers to everything. It's not true. In fact, many of these alternative treatments may be the answer that we've been searching for decades.
It cures a cough and it's a beer.
Yeah.
With diverse remedies
I'm a laughter researcher.
I make my own deodorant.
I believe I've discovered a cure for baldness.
Boldness?
Yeah.
from the traditional
My grandfather passed down to my father, and I was passing on to me.
This is a Peruvian smell. You probably feel
I've
that.
smelled that before.
to the controversial.
Drink it and you should be cured.
Cured.
Cured. This saved my vagina.
You're what?
And extreme.
It's maggot tea.
No.
No way is that going up mud.
Oh my God.
The pressure is on to decide
That tastes great.
which treatments are worthy of a real-world scientific trial.
Asha, I'm going to completely disagree with you here. I think this is everything that this show is about.
This is Medicine or Myth. Tonight, a traditional herbal remedy
Fresh organic turmeric.
with true potential in modern medicine.
Of course it kills cancer cells.
An unconventional treatment for gums and growing pains.
Alcohol.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
And
I wanted to talk to you about gut health.
Very on trend.
a healthy gut without restriction.
This is an interesting one because so many of my patients have this problem.
But first, on a New South Wales farm.
Oh, here comes the family.
Patricia is growing a tropical plant that's been used as a medicinal balm in Malaysia for generations.
These are the balsam plants. I have been propagating them. I grew up with my grandparents who own rubber plantation almost on the edge of a jungle. There wasn't a lot of medical facilities around, so if you're sick, you look for botanicals. I was about 6 or 7 when my grandma pulled me aside and she said, "Look at this plant clearly and remember it for the rest of your life." To have my remedy put to trial will be so amazing because it is so simple, it is natural, it works. Hi, Dr. Jenny. Hi, Dr. Charlie.
So what's your name and why are you here?
My name is Trish, and I'm here to give a remedy for ingrown toenails.
Ah, a condition from which I suffered for many years.
Awesome, you gotta try it then.
Okay,
that's
so
good.
tell us a little bit about yourself
Okay.
and how you came across this.
I grew up in Malaysia, in a state of Malacca, in a little town called Sebatu.
So you're Nyonya?
I'm Nyonya, yeah.
Yes, I'm a Baba.
I know. I saw your show.
Oh, thank you.
So, Trisha, this is a pretty well-regarded treatment for ingrown toenails in Malaysia?
Absolutely, absolutely. In Chinese, it's a Chinese remedy. Because you're so far away from any medical aid, things like everyday remedy, toothache, headache.
Become very important.
Very important, yes.
Yes.
So we get natural remedies like this.
Okay.
because I had ingrown toenails from a very young age till even now, I remember this remedy from my grandma.
Okay, so it's a personal journey because you suffered from ingrown toenails.
Absolutely.
I'll just tell you my journey because it wasn't a pleasant one. It was my big toe.
It's always the big toe.
The edges of the nail grows into the meat of the toe. It grows in so much that it causes irritation, scoriation, it breaks the skin. Of course, then it gets infected.
And it's angry.
And pus starts coming out. It's angry, it's terrible. They cut that little bit of stuff out.
Absolutely.
To the next step, which is sometimes a wedge resection of the bone. Then that doesn't work, so the next step is pull the nail out and they modified the nail bed. Look, the bottom line is my experience of ingrown toenails is very bad, and I would love to know of some sort of alternative treatment.
You wouldn't believe how simple it is. This is a balsam plant. Balsam in Chinese, if you translate, is just called fingernail plant.
The tropical balsam plant is native to southern Asia. It has a long history of use in indigenous traditional medicine, in the treatment of disease and skin afflictions.
I'm excited. What do you do?
Okay, very easy. Harvest the leaves. So about 5 or 6 leaves will do you. And because rice is readily available.
Cooked rice or
cooked
raw?
Rice,
Cooked rice.
And usually it's like last night's leftover dinner rice.
Cooked white rice,
The rice will just bind everything together. So if you put like roughly about 2 teaspoonsful of rice in there, mash it all up. So you mash it until the leaves are broken down.
You said that it becomes mushy and liquidy when you use just the leaf.
Just the leaves,
There's that much moisture in the leaf, is there?
Yes.
Okay.
See how it combines and it becomes quite like a pulp?
I'd like to see what it looks like when you're applying it to a toe. Charlie, you game? To get you sure?
I don't have the most attractive toes in the world, but okay.
Well, clearly, if you've had ingrown ones and surgery.
My grandma would have just used an old rag, but in Australia we got bandages, so that's good.
Oh, no, it's not too dirty. Okay.
So what you do is apply this where the infection is, put it on. So you see how the rice would just combine it and make it like into a pulp, and then you would bandage this.
So I can understand how a poultice like this could get rid of infection, but does it get rid of the underlying problem that caused the infection in the first place?
Yes.
It does.
It dries up all the nail. The inflammation is gone. Once it's dried out, you can snip your nails the next day. Then it takes away straight away the pain and the pus.
Right.
But you find that after a while, because it's always dry, you notice that it doesn't come back as often. That's my experience. I used to get it like 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah.
I'll be lucky to get it once every 2 or 3 years now. You know.
All right,
so
but it seems to be the focus is about getting rid of the inflammation, and then allowing you to then...
That's right.
Which does make me wonder whether when the nail grows in, is there sort of a chronic inflammation in the nail bed that is just swelling and covering...
That's exactly what it is.
The nail.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
And if you can get rid of that, then maybe we just settle everything down.
That's exactly how it works.
Okay.
Well, Trish, I love it. I love it because it's simple. It's very specific. It has a very specific disease that it treats. It's not as if we treat it that successfully. There's a lot of complications with the current treatment. There are certainly lots of patients out there who would benefit from it. Gina?
Oh, I'm totally down for this being a trial. I think, as exactly all the things that you said, Charlie, even if it meant that 50% of people with ingrown toenails did not need to go and get further medical assistance with antibiotics, with all the complications of those, I reckon it's a winner.
I think it's the sort of thing that you could test relatively easily. Yeah, I'm drawn to this.
Trish, I think we'll present it for trial.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I would love that. It's a legacy for my grandma.
I wonder what she would say if she could see you here talking about her remedy to medical people and having them say, we want to explore this medically. What do you think she would say?
She'll say, you little shit. Did you really do that?
Really?
Yeah, you don't know a Chinese mother. She was probably a tiger mother like my mother. My mother would never say any niceties.
That's part of her heritage.
That's our
That's the way it is. Well,
okay, Trish, thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much.
Lovely.
It's going to trial. Oh, hey! Congratulations, that's great news.
Yes.
How are you feeling about that?
I think it's great. It's great to get grandma's remedy out. It's her legacy, but I know inside her she'll be proud.
Next to front the panel is Robert, with a treatment once considered to be Italy's most powerful folk remedy.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Alcohol.
As long as it isn't your urine.
No, it's not actually. Good evening, guys. My name's Robert, and my remedy is grappa.
For what?
For what? For any ailment. No, for life. For any ailment. Grappa basically is a part of the brandy family. So it's an Italian version, or it's called aquavite, so the water of life.
Look, it is the elixir of youth. It is the panacea for. And look, I am always one to take one for the team. In fact, it's usually Ash, but I'll spare you today. What is it going to cure?
I don't know. It'll probably give you a good night.
Yeah, whatever's wrong.
I'm down for a good night. That'll work.
Better.
All right. It is pretty good.
It is an Italian drink?
It is an Italian.
Italian roots?
Italian roots.
It's believed Italy's great grappa tradition began around the 12th century, when Salerno's Benedictine monks preserved medicinal herbs with the dregs left over from winemaking. This potent distilled spirit became popular with the working classes, keen to dull the pain of hard manual labour.
And the alcohol content of it?
Alcohol content ranges anywhere between 38 to 60%.
Oh, it's very strong.
This is not just you. These a lot of Italians would feel passionate about.
There's a lot of Italian. A bottle of grappa is basically in their staple diet. It's there, whether it's indigestion, heartburn. You know, there's research that after a heart attack, they recommend the Italians to drink a nip of grappa during the day because it cuts down the fat. But basically, we're here to talk about kids and what I've done with my kids and...
What?
Yeah, exactly. Instead of using gel, for example, I dipped my finger in there, numbed their gums, gave them that warm, fuzzy feeling they could sleep through the night.
Okay, okay. And it's something that you were raised on?
I was raised with a bottle of grappa basically in the kitchen cupboard.
Do you have childhood memories of being given grappa?
For myself, yes. Yeah, I mean, for different ailments. Mozzie bites, cuts.
Everything?
Everything.
There is some contention that, in fact, if you expose a child to alcohol at an early age, they like the taste.
They like the taste, but I mean, it's not as if we're going to open their mouth and put a funnel in there, hey, let's have some. You're only getting a little bit along the gums and...
You know what it reminds me of?
What?
When I grew up, my mother used to say tiger balm for everything.
Exactly. My eldest at the moment is going through growing pains, who's 7. So what I've done is, after doing some research, reading literature on that product, I said, well, use it as a, like a tiger balm. Use it. And it soothes him and lets him sleep through the night.
And where would you rub the
So
grappa?
he's getting pains at the back of his legs, so a bit of grappa soothes the pain.
Really, we cannot endorse using grappa, or indeed any spirit, on an infant. I don't know what else to say other than we can't really study this any further.
It's not the sort of thing that we're going to send to trial, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for the opportunity.
Lovely.
Love it.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, what a classic guy.
Yeah. I think the Australian Medical Association makes a pretty strong statement that
no alcohol is good.
Absolutely should not be doing that for young kids. So.
Our next remedy comes from the heart of Indonesia.
G'day, Juliana.
Hello, Jen. How are you?
I'm very well. Okay. What do we have here?
We've got here the ingredient to make jamu. So that's a turmeric tonic.
Jamu.
Jamu.
And what is this a remedy for?
The turmeric drink has been commonly used in Bali or Indonesia to treat period pain, as well as to make women beautiful.
Well, it's worked, hasn't it?
Thanks.
This is a basket of goodness. Is this
The
what you're telling
basket
me?
of goodness, exactly right.
Well, let's get you before our panel of doctors and see what they have to say.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm very interested for jamu to go into a trial. I really like to help other women, especially to help with really bad period pain.
I Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
What's your name and why are you here?
My name is Juliana, and I just like to show a little piece of Bali magic into Australia. I'm from the mountain of Bali, and we lived nomad for a while because we didn't have any home. So I used to learn from my mum how to survive from the jungle.
A lot of people in Australia turn to natural therapies because they've been disillusioned by the medical system and doctors and what we have to offer, and they turn to natural therapies. You're a little bit different. You were always there because it was the only thing that was accessible to you.
When I grew up, there's 600 families in the whole village, and we only have one vet. So
It wasn't a human doctor.
it wasn't a
vet.
human doctor, it was a vet. So when we really have, you know, like a, generally
Real problem.
when I had a fever, my mum always treated me with a bit of jamu. And then if I'm still not feeling better, I'll go to the vet.
What a great story.
Thank you.
Okay then, what do you have for us?
Jamu is a type of health drink.
Jamu, how do you spell it?
J-A-M-U.
Jamu.
So jamu.
Okay.
So jamu is widely used to treat period pain. It's also like for stamina. I'm a mother of 3 and also running 3 businesses, and so I feel the different for my body. So I'm just hoping to share that.
So did I hear you right? You're a mother of 3 plus you run 3 businesses.
Yes, I am.
Wow.
So how bad was your period pain before you started on the jamu?
Every time I had it, I'll be curled up in so much pain. You know, like all my back and my body ache, and you know, like I just have a strong migraine, and I just could not get up.
And now?
Now I still feel a bit of pain, but not as bad. You know, my mum always said, you know, when you have children, it'll be going away. Nah, it didn't. It didn't. But it's decreased it a little with the turmeric drink, a lot.
Can you tell us how you make it up?
I use a fresh organic turmeric. The turmeric is really high in curcumin.
Curcumin is the component of turmeric that gives the spice its bright yellow colour. It's also the active ingredient believed responsible for many of the health benefits of turmeric.
Even Western science seems to be picking up on this. We sort of certainly see more and more studies exploring curcumin.
Yeah.
It could have anti-cancer properties or anti-inflammatory properties.
Okay then, anything else? The turmeric.
Lemongrass. There's ginger here, and there's a bit of limes, a bit of coconut sugar. I used to add
coconut sugar.
just to balance the flavour, and I use a tiny bit of salt. Like I got my whole family on it. I haven't quite convinced my children yet.
Do you think your children don't like it because it tastes bad?
I guess it just...
Let me taste it, and if it's really bad, I'll tell you the truth. Thank you.
Start with that.
Start with that one. Okay, Ash.
So this is fresh turmeric. Have you ever made it with powdered turmeric?
I tried, but it tastes really bitter.
Did it? Okay.
Is it that bad?
It's lovely. I think it's nice.
I mean, I can understand why the kids don't like it, I think, but it's not bad.
I like it. It's almost like turmeric cordial.
It's not a trial type thing, I don't think. The studies have already been done of the medicinal value of turmeric, but it's beautiful.
Thank you for sharing with us something from your Balinese culture, which is really, really lovely.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Jamu comes from an ancient Javanese term, meaning to heal using medicinal herbs, prayers and magic.
When I asked the scientists in my lab of the medicinal value of turmeric, they looked at me as if I asked them the most silly question in the world. Of course it kills cancer cells. So to prove to me that turmeric was an anti-cancer agent, they got the petri dish full of growing malignant glioma cells, sprinkled some turmeric on it, next morning all the cells were dead. So it certainly has an anti-cancer effect. The trouble is that doesn't necessarily translate to ingesting it orally, but certainly in vitro it has an anti-cancer effect, and it certainly has an anti-inflammatory effect.
Coming up, we check in on Patricia's ingrown toenail remedy and a medicine that might be a little hard to swallow.
Oh, it smells disgusting, Kimmy. Oh my goodness.
Earlier, earlier, we saw Patricia's balsam and rice poultice sent to trial.
Well, Trish, I love it. I love it because it's simple.
I'm totally down for this being a trial.
Thank you. I would love that. It's a legacy from my grandma.
To put each remedy to the test, we've enlisted an independent scientific team to conduct clinical research, collecting data from carefully selected patients who trial the remedy. Each study runs for up to 12 weeks, depending on the remedy, and participants are selected from across Australia. Here are some who have volunteered to test Patricia's balsam remedy for ingrown toenails, an ailment that has plagued finance broker Jamel for years.
The worst thing about having an ingrown toenail is when you're trying to sleep at night and you turn over and your toe hits the mattress, that's the most torturous time.
The pain of an ingrown toenail is a sentiment Agnes reluctantly shares.
It's like your nail is stabbing your toe, and the more it stabs your toe, the more swollen your toe gets, the more it stabs your toe. And it doesn't matter if I'm wearing a shoe, a heel, or a bare foot, it still hurts.
But for Mary, an ingrown toenail holds an additional risk.
I have diabetes type 2 that I'm on medication for.
People with diabetes are at a high risk of developing a serious infection that can spread to the toes and even the bone.
You have to be extra careful with having any problems with your feet.
For the next 3 days, each person testing will cover the affected toe with Patricia's balsam and cooked rice poultice and leave overnight.
Hopefully, in 3 days, miraculously, my ingrown toenail is no longer going to be an issue. Can't wait!
After only one overnight application, the results are promising.
Day 2, and the toe is somewhat softer. There doesn't seem to be any colour change, but because it's softer, there's less discomfort.
My toe only hurts a little bit, and I'm really surprised. I'm really looking forward to my toe getting better, and I think it'll work.
Some of the redness and the swelling around the area where the ingrown toenail has definitely dissipated, so looking forward to having it all gone completely, and hopefully after tonight it will all be done.
We'll have the final results later in the program. Our next remedy comes from the Amazon rainforest and may help in the treatment of one of Australia's most common health conditions.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Take a seat. Heaven, so lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you.
Where are you from originally?
I was born in the Amazon rainforest in Peru. I grew there, a place that we only had about 1,000 people population in the time when I was born.
Okay, that's quite small.
That's right. We did not have, let's say, hospitals in that time. So we didn't have the health care that we have probably here. So we had to rely in a lot of natural and home remedies. That's been passed by generations, probably not only hundreds, but thousands of years.
And then it must work then,
That's
surely,
right,
you know?
For sure.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hello. Hello. My name is Herman. I'm original from the Amazon rainforest in Peru.
Wow. I've been there myself.
Excellent.
Of all the places I've been in the world, it's the most calming place that I've ever been in, ever.
Thank you. Now, my remedy today, it calls Palo Santo, which translated in English is sacred wood. It's a natural incense that, according to my experience, might help you in terms of stress relief, in terms of milding the anxiety, relaxing, that I experienced when I was growing through my mid-age crisis. And I started getting anxiety and sort of this. So I contacted my grandmother in Peru. Grandmother is almost 100 years, and she said, Palo Santo will help you.
Palo Santo, or sacred wood in Spanish, comes from a South American tree called Bursera graveolens.
How do you prepare the wood for its medicinal purposes?
When it's planted, grows until the age of 40 years. They cut, and it takes 6 years to dry. Only after 6 years, this tree will give that aroma to relieve the stress and be a little bit more happy.
Yes. The benefits of aromatherapy have been well documented, As a neurosurgeon, I can tell you now that the olfactory system is one of the most powerful systems in the human brain, which then connects directly with the limbic system that controls all those emotions.
Yeah.
So, you know, the aroma part of it, I can completely understand how that happens. But once we have the wood, Herman, what do you do to it?
I'm going to burn the wood.
Sure.
So you can experience the smell.
You're not going to start a big bonfire, right?
No. You let the light for about 1 minute and then just blow. Would you mind if I just smudge a little bit so you can feel it?
It's beautiful.
This is a Peruvian smell. You probably feel it.
I've smelled that before.
Yeah. The other option is you hold close to your heart, close your eyes, and just think that everything is going to be all right.
That's beautiful, Herman.
I do think that that wood is known for having certain chemicals in it. A couple of studies suggest that maybe that has a muscle relaxant capability. So it's at least conceivable that the inhalation of the smoke from the wood might have an effect on the body that's due to some molecules inside it. I'm not sure that it's really the sort of thing that we could ever trial, but it's still been wonderful having you here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. See you soon. Thank you.
What a beautiful man. Beautiful story.
Anxiety is the most common mental health condition in Australia. On average, 1 in 4 people will experience anxiety. Our next remedy was born out of a preservation method first discovered 12,000 years ago.
I'm Kim, I'm a microbiologist. Is there anything unusual about my remedy? Well, it's full of bacteria. My background in microbiology has made me really appreciate the importance of microbes to heal your gut. I was always doing research on diet and gut health, and I was basically my own guinea pig, and I'd just do everything that I thought would improve my health. If it didn't work, didn't do it anymore. If it did work, I'd continue. It would mean a great deal to me to have my remedy put on trial. I know that it works, but to have the validation from experts, that would just mean the world to me. Hello.
Hello.
I'm Kimmy. I've brought along some of my favourite fermented and probiotic food for you today.
Very on trend.
Yes, it is at the moment.
So that's a kimchi?
That's kimchi. I've got some kefir and coconut yogurt.
Wonderful.
So I wanted to talk to you about gut health. I had an upset tummy basically all my life. And things like cramps after eating, bloating, just not regularly going to the toilet.
I get so many patients coming to me with a lot of bloating. They never mention flatulence, but it's always there. Like, they don't confess it to me. But like, if you're bloated,
that's embarrassing, right?
Correct. If you're bloating, it's gas,
Yeah.
right? So
And
you're going to fart like a train.
You have the little tummy thing
You
going
do.
on too.
And all of my patients go, I look 6 months pregnant. I've always had a flat tummy. So many of my patients have this problem, and our diets are terrible. And I'm so interested in hearing more about your journey, because I've been on a fermenting kick as well. I've been fermenting veggies all over the place, but I want to hear what happened to you.
Fermentation is basically microbes releasing energy from food. I started making my own fermented vegetables from scratch, didn't know how to really, just trial and error. Did make lots of errors and threw out a lot of batches, but you know, I really enjoyed eating them and everything just started working properly.
So all those symptoms you had started dissipating?
Absolutely. I felt better by incorporating these into my diet.
Naturally fermented foods contain probiotics, which strengthen your gut microbiome, the bacteria and microorganisms that live in the digestive tract. Maintaining a healthy microbiome may help prevent symptoms like abdominal pain, wind, bloating, and other digestive problems.
Would you like to try the kefir? I've got some of that here.
Kefir?
Kefir is a fermented milk. It's from Turkey, and it has kefir grains. You have a little mass of bacteria that sits in the milk, and they digest the sugars out of the milk and create like a yogurty sour milk drink.
Can I smell that?
You can absolutely smell it.
Maybe look at the consistency and...
Yeah, it's kind of like a thick milk or a runny yogurt.
Yeah, you know, you're right. Oh, it smells disgusting, Kelly. Oh, my goodness. Tastes better than it smells, actually.
Yeah, I agree.
Fermenting just sounds like you get a whole of bugs, put it in there, wait for a few days, and then the bugs do their job, is it?
Basically, yes.
We know that the number of bugs, but more importantly, the diversity of bacteria that you have in your gut really has a strong influence on gut health. And given that the foods that you've brought today have got bacteria, those foods may really dramatically influence gut health. It's a really massive area for medical research at the moment.
Some of the studies that I've seen have shown that you can completely transform the microbiome of the gut within 10 days by radically changing the diet altogether, cutting out all processed foods. This is an interesting one because what we're saying is we're going to not change your diet, we're going to add fermented foods in and see if we could change the symptoms. And that's what we just don't know. I'm obviously really keen to get this to trial.
Look, I think we've got consensus. We should run a trial.
Excellent, thank you.
Congratulations. Okay, Kimmy, thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You too.
Lovely. Thanks, Kimmy, lovely.
Thank you. Okay, I'll take my little goodies.
I was really hoping with this show that somebody would bring a gut health thing to us, just because...
It's so topical for a start.
It's topical. The research, the thirst for knowledge is running way ahead of the research, so anything we can do to sort of prop up that imbalance is great.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested in it as a GP.
50% of Australians experience digestive upsets, and 1 in 7 have distressing gut symptoms that can affect their quality of life. And rates are increasing.
We're going to trial.
You're going to trial? Yeah. Mate, high 10 to you.
Coming up, fermented foods go on trial. Can they ease stomach pains and flatulence?
Bottoms up.
And a remedy for healing that divides our experts.
I was really sceptical until I had it done, and then I was an instant convert. Don't say anything. I know I stand alone here. Like I saw your look.
Next to face the panel is Mushik, with a remedy he discovered purely by chance.
Mushik?
Jan.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Tell me, what is your remedy?
It's for food poisoning.
Oh.
To cure it.
Okay. Because food poisoning can be quite a sort of a serious thing, you know?
It can be. I mean, if you go to the doctor, what are they going to say to you? Okay, just lay there, rest, and, you know, have some water, and that's pretty much it. There's no other options that you have. And I don't know about you, like me personally, like nausea is just like, it just makes me hate life and everything. And, you know, I'd just rather get shot. Like, I can't stand nausea. It's just really bad.
I don't know if I'd rather get shot. I think I'd rather have a little stew than get shot, but sure.
Mushik's hoping his belief in this accidental remedy will convince the panel to send it to trial.
Hello, everyone.
Hi there.
Hello. How you doing?
Yeah, good. How are you?
What's your name?
It's Mushik.
Mushik?
Yep.
What do you have there?
This looks like a block of charcoal, doesn't it? Pretty much. It's tamarind fruit, and it's in pulp form, and it ends up looking like that in the bowl, which is also hideous, but, you know, what are you going to do? I mean, it's not about the looks, it's more about what it does, and what it does is actually help for food poisoning.
Really?
One night, I just had, like, a really bad kebab.
It's always a dodgy kebab, like 100% of the time.
You know, in the morning, like, when it comes to food poisoning, you know, right? It's like a million trips to the bathroom. Straight away, you go, okay, there's something going on here. You know, you go constantly, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
You don't have to...
You have to pitch a tent in the bathroom and just live there for a while, like, you know? So, I had tamarind paste. So I said, okay, I'm feeling a bit peckish, I have something sour. So I went to the fridge, took it out, and then had about, 3 to 4 spoonfuls of it.
In that form?
In that form, in paste form.
In the paste form.
That's right. And then I think about 2 hours later, the stomach pain started going away at first, right? And then after that, the urge to vomit started going away, and then the nausea started trailing off. It was more so the nausea, and that, surprised me because, it just happened in such a short time, to the point where I actually was stunned when I had it.
Yeah.
To the point where I actually went to my doctor and I said, well, what do you do for food poisoning? He goes, water, go lay there for a while, take a million trips to the bathroom, and just whinge until you're better, basically, right? What else can you do?
In terms of food poisoning, I think everybody thinks that they have food poisoning. And in terms of bacteria, there's salmonella, which is generally coming from uncooked chicken or dodgy eggs, or where the surfaces where uncooked chicken has been, prepared. And then you've got your E. coli, your toxic E. coli, and Campylobacter, things like that, and your norovirus, that cruise ship sort of virus. And really hard to tell it apart from just a stock standard garden variety gastro, and I think everybody puts it down to food, and in their head it's the last thing that they ate that has caused all of this. And statistically, it's probably not. It's probably just a virus that you got, probably just walked past somebody and they coughed, or you touched something where somebody had gone to the toilet and not washed their hands very thoroughly, and it was probably on their hands. In terms of the tamarin per se, I was intrigued the fact that you were hungry. That's a good sign. Because if you've got salmonella, I can promise you, you're not roving through the fridge. You're just pooping out blood, and you've got a high fever and you can't move, and you're certainly not down for eating anything, let alone tamarin. So I think this is interesting, and it's an interesting discussion about what upsets the guts. I'm not sure what role tamarin plays.
There's a couple of studies on tamarin powder, so just a slightly different version, different form of it, and anecdotes on curing everything. So, but there's really nothing concrete, I'm afraid.
Have you had subsequent episodes of an upset stomach where this has worked as well?
I have, yes.
And it always works?
Yes.
We probably wouldn't be able to run a trial on this one.
I think from just a sort of logistical perspective, you would have to probably induce and then treat.
Yes, it'd be very difficult to run a trial, but, very interesting. I'm glad it's worked for you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Food poisoning affects approximately 4 million Australians each year. The estimated annual cost of food poisoning to the economy is $1.25 billion. Earlier, we saw Kim present the panel with her fermented food remedy for gut health.
All the panellists are very excited about what you're proposing. I think all of us are in agreement that we should run a trial.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
To test Kim's fermented foods, we've enlisted an independent scientific team to conduct research on carefully selected patients from across Australia. Here are some who are keen to cure their gut problems.
The pain can be quite severe.
Kathy has suffered years of pain and discomfort after consuming certain food and drinks.
It keeps me awake at night. It feels like there's a little person in there with a knife jabbing about, and they're quite sharp, the pains. Bottoms up. I'm excited to take part in the study and try the home remedy to see what it brings.
Drug and alcohol worker Ken's condition creates not only physical pain, but emotional distress.
I'm having a bit of trouble with the gut. I'm having flatulence problems. I get pain in the lower belly, and when I get bloating, it's more on the left-hand side, and the pain tends to be more on the left-hand side. It's been as severe as thinking even to go to hospital. Causes me a lot of anxiety having all of this wind. I worry that I'm going to upset people or offend people, and I have to hold on to it, which just makes the situation worse, and I can just feel the pressure building up in the stomach.
Like Ken, Simone is hoping fermented foods are the remedies she needs to cure her flatulence.
I feel constipated, that I need to go to the toilet. But when you go, all you do is one big fart. So I've chosen sauerkraut. Nothing to lose except wind.
For this study, our trial participants will consume 100 grams of fermented food, like sauerkraut, or 100 mils of fermented drink, like kefir, daily for 1 week. They'll make no other changes to their diet. by mid-trial, the results are looking good.
3 days into the trial, and already I'm surprised to find that there is some sort of improvement happening with the sauerkraut remedy.
I'm halfway through the trial with the fermented foods for a gut issue with flatulence and with bloating, and I found a marked improvement. In fact, today I've found there is no symptoms at all, and I'm hoping that that will continue throughout the trial. But I see this as being a win, and I'm looking forward to the rest of it. Thanks.
We'll find out the results later.
Sauerkraut, you beauty. Everybody should have some.
Our next participant is hoping her healing hands can convince the panel to send this remedy to trial.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Leola.
Nice to meet you.
And I'm going to be talking about Reiki today.
Oh.
Charlie's going to be so happy.
I'm very happy.
Oh, I'm thrilled.
You're a complete
I'm
convert.
a convert.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
So, Leola, just tell us a little bit more of your story.
As a child, I actually collapsed at school when I was 10. And I was paralysed on my right side, and I was unconscious maybe a day, I don't know. And the doctors said that it was epilepsy, and I was put on anticonvulsants all my life. I was on like 9 tablets a day. It was ridiculous. So obviously you would know the side effects of anticonvulsants. I'm going to get a bit teary when I say that.
So these horrific medications were interfering with your life.
As I got older and got married and had 4 kids under 6, I'd have to have a sleep during the day because I just needed the energy for the afternoon. So I went and had acupuncture for the stress was there. The practitioner actually taught Reiki, and she said, you might like to learn Reiki. I just feel so alive now, you know. That actually brought me to better health.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sorry.
Because I don't know anything about Reiki.
Okay.
Can you explain it in basic terms for me?
I would say it's an Eastern, non-invasive healing technique that unblocks the blocked energies in the system.
Reiki originated in Japan in the early 20th century. The word Reiki loosely translates to universal life energy and involves balancing that energy to enable the body to heal itself.
Someone else practices Reiki on you, you don't do it yourself?
Yes, you can do it yourself, and you can send it.
And you can...
Send it, send distance, do distance.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I know all about it.
That's amazing.
Oh, good.
Okay, so you can do it remotely?
Yes, yes.
Okay, wow. Is there any way that you can demonstrate
Would
it?
you like me to demonstrate?
Right.
Now, please keep an open mind.
Of course, always.
Okay, we start with the hands over here. Do you have any pain anywhere? Any discomfort anywhere? No. Okay.
Do you find, Leola, that maybe the first time you see someone, if they're not a believer, it might not be as effective and you need a bit more time on someone who's a bit more of a skeptic?
Yeah.
I reckon you'd need like 1,000 hours on me. I reckon I'd be like the biggest Reiki fail ever.
No, you can be more sceptical than me. I was really sceptical until I had it done. And then I was an instant convert. I was totally sceptical. It's actually based on a lot of science. The body emits energy. We all know that. The body's made up of molecules, and all these molecules have a positive and a negative. And a Reiki master can interfere with that energy simply by putting their hands close to you. They don't even have to touch you, because that can influence these energy flows and these currents that transmit through the body. Now, how that transmits to a distant person baffled me. So I went to a quantum physicist. I go, can it be that a microcurrent produced by a body here in Australia could influence something in America, or influence someone in America? Yeah, absolutely. That's what quantum physics is all about. It's all about transmission of molecular energy from one place to another. For every action here, there's some sort of reaction somewhere else in the world, in the universe.
I mean, that's so difficult to really to grasp at any sort of level for most of us, unless you've got multiple degrees in physics. The sensible approach is to say, I don't understand, and I want to see some data. Yeah. And I guess the issue is, what sort of data can we amass to try and make some headway in this. There's the challenge for all those researchers out there.
I think it's near impossible to study in a trial, but it's something that I think the public would really appreciate knowing about. Thank you.
Thank you very
Ask you
much.
how you feel. Do you feel any different?
I don't feel different,
Okay,
but it's
that's
been
fine.
fabulous to receive the Reiki anyway, and I'm very grateful for that.
My pleasure. A pleasure. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
It's
you.
been lovely.
It's been lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you all.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Leola.
Okay, cheers. Thank you.
Don't say anything. I know I stand alone here. Like I saw your look.
Next, the results are in for Patricia's ingrown toenail remedy and Kim's fermented foods for gut health. It's time to reveal the results for the remedies our panel chose to trial. First up is Patricia's balsam remedy for ingrown toenails.
Hello. Hello,
Tricia.
Dr. Ginny.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Lovely to see your smile again.
Oh, good. Thank you, Dr. Charlie. You're so good.
So, Patricia, you brought us a poultice made up of one-day-old rice and tropical balsam. And it was important that it was tropical balsam to be applied to the ingrown toenail.
Yes. So what you do is apply this where the infection is. So you see how the rice will just combine it and make it like into a pulp. Then it takes away straight away the pain and the pus.
Right.
But you find that after a while, because it's always dry, you notice that it doesn't come back as often.
Look, before I actually present to you the results of the study, I just want to confirm to you that I thought this was going to be a really good study because, well, it was based on traditional medicine.
That's
and
right.
it's a very common condition, and I thought it'd be great if we could actually find something a little bit less destructive and invasive than pulling the nail out to try and cure the problem. And the results?
25% people reported a moderate improvement in redness, pain or swelling. But that's 75% of people who didn't report that. I feel that's largely a negative finding.
Unfortunately, Patricia, I have to agree. Look, I know it does sound quite comforting to find that 1 in 4 people experience some benefit, but it does mean that 3 out of 4 didn't.
Okay.
So unfortunately, it's a negative study.
On the plus side, though, it does work for you. And just because in this small study it didn't work does not mean there is nothing in this whatsoever. And I think if this works for you, why wouldn't you continue to use it?
Patricia, thank you very, very
Thank
much.
you very much.
It's a family tradition passed down through many
Absolutely.
generations. We
Absolutely.
appreciate you sharing it with us. Thanks very much,
Thank
Patricia.
you.
Lovely.
Thank you very much. I still believe in the plant because I've used it personally. It's been in our culture for a long, long time. So it's been successful so far. I will continue using it.
Next is Kim's fermented food for gut health.
I've always strived to be really healthy, and I always thought I was until I tried fermented foods. And then I realised that I'd been living with conditions that aren't normal, like bloating, cramps after eating, any sort of digestion that's not happening properly.
So all those symptoms you had started dissipating.
Absolutely.
Kim.
How are you?
And now, Kim is about to discover if her remedy helped settle the symptoms of flatulence and gut pain.
Well, before we go to the results, I'd just like to say that I was very keen on this study. I thought that it would be a very, very positive study. That was my initial impression.
I was totally pumped as well. And the opportunity to put it under the microscope was pretty exciting. So, got some results.
Okay.
Already after 1 week, 55% actually felt less symptoms, and especially the bloating and farting. We sort of seemed to really get on top of that quite quickly.
Excellent.
You didn't seem that surprised, Kim. I thought you'd jump for joy, but it's almost like, well, I told you so.
Yeah, I knew this.
That was quite quick, I thought, to get such a powerful result. What do you think?
I got results instantly, like just felt better instantly. So yeah, I'm not surprised that it didn't take very long at all.
I think it's interesting that quite a large proportion of participants said that they would be interested in continuing their usage of it, 85% in fact.
Oh wow, that's really good.
So that in of itself is an encouraging result, I think.
I think there's going to be a huge knock-on effect. I mean, I know as a scientist I can't say that definitively, but we know that it helps the immune system. I can't imagine that the benefits that we've seen just with the bowel won't then knock on to benefits with the entire health of the individual.
I think one of the interesting things that we're finding out more recently is that it's not the bacteria themselves, but a lot of the byproducts that they make, they directly impact your entire immune system, and then that then has positive effects for prevention of certain ailments. So there's clear evidence in the scientific literature that molecules made by bacteria can benefit you if you've got the right ones in your gut.
Kim, thank you very much for bringing it to our attention. Thank you very much for bringing it to the attention of the public. I think it's a great service. I love your passion for it. It's been lovely meeting you and having you present to us this remedy.
Thank you.
Okay.
See you. So, getting validation from such respected scientists is really empowering. Everyone wants the validation, so here it is, and I'm just ready to run with it.
This program provides general information only and does not recommend or endorse any particular treatment. It is not intended to replace the advice provided by your own doctor or medical or health professional.